Hello and welcome to this edition of The Verified with me, Mustafa Kedabo. Today I have Mr. Biran Gai. Is it Gay or Guy?
Guy.
Biran Gai.
Yeah.
He's a political scientist, a lecturer at the university, and also a frequent commentator on national newspapers. Welcome to the edition of The Verified.
Thank you so much, Muzawa. It's a great pleasure to be here today.
Great. So today we intend to look at, we are in a political season, and everything is happening as far as, the desire to replace the president is concerned from all the opposition. And right now, we will intend to look at the mergers, the potential mergers that are being forged, but first, let's start with the current state of affairs. Do you get the impression that the current team to beat in Gambian politics is NPP? It seems to be that this is the outcome of the by-election.
Yes, I think that is a conclusion, an interim conclusion that one can make based on the performances of the National People's Party, not only in these by-elections, but even though the by-elections play a major important role. The NPP beating UDP and APLC Noto Alliance in their strong basis. That alone signals something that is worth analyzing. Because I remember in 2018 when the NPP made its electoral debut in the Nyamina West by-elections.
Yeah.
It was the same.
That's the one they fought with Kande.
That's the one they fought.
With Kande.
And they were able to reject Kande's year or so out of power.
Yeah.
Year Jal, I think. And also in the Jokado by-election also, which they won, they happened to go together simultaneously. So that was their first test, and they have succeeded. I remember having the likes of Biran Gai there because I was an election observer. For 17 days, I was in Nyamina West following what was happening. The good side of politics and the wrong side of politics, everything was there. And NPP invested a lot. And from there, I knew that they're going to be a strong force. Why? Because they were the party in government. They have access to state resources, like many incumbent political parties do across Africa. That level of success that PPP enjoyed was transferred to APRC, and the same with NPP as well, because they have monopoly on state resources, whether they admit it or not.
Yeah.
And also the recent by-elections also sent a strong signal. And there are lessons to be learned. If I was NPP, they should be very proud of their achievement, what they've done. But it is also an opportunity for the opposition to rethink towards a strategic alliance, isn't it? Because the indication is that NPP is one of the biggest alliances in Gambian politics right now. And you have so many political parties within the camp. And what that also means is that for the opposition to have any chance of unseating the government in power, they must come together in a form of grand alliance as well. And I think that is the most important lessons that ought to be learned ahead of the election season. But it is a matter of opinions as well, because election analysis are subjective. Opinions can change.
But there are folks who are thinking that, alliances may not just, in a simplistic sense, may not just cut it because, for example, there is someone who argued that no two alliance actually loses because UDP supported them. That there's a lot of their supporters also do not like the UDP.
Yeah,
do you think
that argument was also made in 2018 in Nyamina West.
When Kande lost.
When Kande lost,
yeah.
Because they were supported by UDP.
Yeah.
That could also be the case. But what is there to analyze is the empirical data that exists,
yeah.
which is that NPP won eventually
yeah.
against UDP and No to Alliance.
Yeah.
So,
well, against No to Alliance, because
yes,
UDP didn't contest the place.
exactly. So I think.
But they supported them anyway.
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
remember, I think
Yes.
pictures saw online that I think that was stopped there.
Yes,
Not
yes,
necessarily
yes.
campaign
They did,
movement,
even though it was so informal. It was so informal, just mere informal support or empathy between opposition political figures does not necessarily translate into electoral victory. What is needed is a formal political alliance, a constructive one that people can rally behind in terms of their ideas or in terms of seeking alternative towards political change.
I mean, it was going to be quite radical, isn't it? If UDP were to go into alliance with No to Alliance, even if it's going to be strategic, when considering the history of the two.
It is going to be a contradiction in terms of principles,
Yeah.
but also in terms of the enmity that exists over the years between these two political parties. But hey, it is politics, isn't it?
Well, Barrow picked a fragment of the APRC.
Exactly. So nothing should stop UDP from also picking the other fragment of APRC, insofar as the idea is to get to political power. Because one of the sole aim of political parties is to contest and win political power. That is their main preoccupation.
Yeah, but also with some little bit of principles. I mean, if you change principles depending on the complexity of the situation or difficulty, then probably
yes, but also you need to understand the dynamics of African politics. I agree that it ought to be principle. But where are those parties that believe in principle? Where has politics landed them? Sometimes the compromises are also necessary because compromises is a fundamental part of politics. It's give and get, so as to aggregate your chances and opportunities of winning. It is also necessary because in as much as you want to pursue your ideas in government, you can only do that with the political power. So therefore, sometimes it is kind of necessary to form alliances, even though you disagree with people politically, just to get to political power. Even parties in alliance, not all of them are in agreement once they are in power. That's why they also say coalitions are very short-lived.
Fragile. But so it is to say, so to speak, seek the political kingdom first.
Yes.
And once you get it, you can.
Yes, you can start acting otherwise, consolidating your rule in power.
But it's a rabbit hole, isn't it?
The point of disagreement between the UDP and APRC is not on the basis of ideas.
But I mean,
isn't it? Is it on the basis of ideas? It is more or less one party was in government and the other party was in opposition. APRC subjugating UDP members towards political harassment. But again, for the greater good of the nation, if there is some form of alignment in terms of ideas that can be formed on the basis of winning, that is something that can be built. Because in as much as President Barrow is also in alliance with the other faction of APRC, the position of his government has always been, to prosecute Jammeh and so on. So that does not actually kind of deter them from saying these things in the open. I don't know whether in reality they have the political will to implement some of the recommendations.
Okay, the NPP.
Yes, the NPP.
You have seen how Barrow, in the height of the initial negotiation with the APRC, how he shifted his person and how he became soft on the implementation of the Truth Commission's recommendations. So clearly, it does seem to be the case that once the government agrees to negotiate with the APRC, it compromises the implementation of the recommendations of the TRRC, the Jammeh Commission.
And therefore one can say since then the implementation have been very picky, maybe selective in that aspect. So obviously, but that is politics for you. Politics is not cool, rosy, and dandy all the time. Sometimes
because
yeah.
if UDP, for example, goes into alliance with the APRC no to alliance, APRC no to alliance, Jammeh is the supreme leader.
Yes.
And Ousainu or whoever the person is representing the UDP is going to be having to share a table with Jammeh
and
to negotiate the arrangement.
But remember, in the TLC, Ousainu said that he has forgiven. Isn't it?
Yeah,
Maybe
but
that is a starter also.
I mean, but who has forgiven? You mean Ousainu?
Ousainu, yes. Those that have tormented him.
Yeah, but that's
in the
neither
past.
here nor there. I mean, well, I mean, think about it. I mean, how does that have to do with recommendations of the TRRC? Nothing.
Yeah,
Does it?
I agree. But again, from a grand political perspective,
Yeah,
I believe that UDP needs numbers if they want to get to political power. Now, where to get those numbers, whether they have to let their anger towards APLC
it's
not
not
alliance
necessarily
subside.
I wouldn't call it anger, though, would it? Is that the right word?
It could be, because I think that rivalry has been so tensious and violent over the years. And since the change, all the other political parties have been working together except these two. Maybe you can say that they have verbally supported them recently in the by-elections.
Yes, I know.
But that's where it stops.
But as far as Jammeh is concerned, it's no longer a rivalry or issue of personality. A state-sponsored investigation has concluded that he has stolen from the people.
Yes, billions.
Okay, billions. And he has also killed at least over 200 people extrajudicially in peacetime. That's not a matter of debate or political perspective. It's a historical fact now.
Yeah, I think that was the argument that I was saying. Even though the NPP is into alliance with the other APLC camp, that does not deter them from pursuing justice in their own words. Saying that Jammeh will eventually face the wrath of the law. And I also think a coalition
But you see how that turned out.
A coalition with UDP also does not necessarily negate that position from UDP.
That UDP will still implement
the
recommendations.
So all of these are part of the
and you think Jammeh is going to sign of an agreement that's going to hurt him?
Well, I don't think so, because one of the reasons he said he's never going to be in a coalition with NPP probably is because of that. But I don't think Jammeh is in a position of a strength in Gambian politics now.
Yeah, look at it this way. He has nothing to lose. Okay? There's nothing he can gain.
Although he has serious numbers that can offset in the elections. And those numbers are needed. Very crucial margins. That are needed from his party.
So where do you see this happening? Do you think UDP is going to go into alliance or not alliance?
That's quite a problem.
It's quite a strange thing.
I cannot really speak for the United Democratic Party. They know what they want as a political party. But again, one thing that I do know is that political consensus have to be made from the United Democratic Party as one of the biggest political party in the Gambia, because the numbers are there to back them. And when I analyze election, I try to focus on the data, voting dynamics, how Gambians vote during elections. And you see that UDP's biggest electoral victory was in 1996. That was when they came newly.
I think something like
36% of the vote. Since then, their numbers have been dwindling down, navigating between 20 onwards. So obviously, it is critically clear that they have a fixed margin of numbers. And therefore, what they need is complementary support from an opposition party to uplift them. Because remember, the electoral system in the Gambia is a winner take all, simple majority political system. And therefore, alliance building or coalition building could be a key to unlocking UDP's political ambition. That will be key.
And so therefore you think
Yes, it is inevitable.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so I mean, holding all factors constant, do you think that, I mean, the only thing that could upset the NPP is a merger or an alliance?
I think a merger, whether you call it a
Holding all
merger
factors constant.
or alliance, I think, first of all, we need to understand history a little bit. There has never been a democratic change of power from the incumbent
At the
to the
presidency level.
opposition, except in 2016
At the presidential
at
level.
the presidential level. What happened in 2016, the circumstances
Yeah.
were very palpable in that Gambians united in their overwhelming numbers to fight against a dictatorial regime, a brutal regime, a nefarious government that was presided over by former President Jammeh. So therefore, my argument has always been, could we make those same arguments? Could a great alliance within the opposition, headed by UDP or whatever political party, make those same arguments that will unite Gambians? No. Will you convince Gambians that there are human rights violations equated to the level of Jammeh? Will you say that? Will you say that the political leadership is stealing billions of billions? Maybe that's an argument that can be made based on the revelation that has happened in the past.
Tying it to Barrow.
Tying it to Barrow. But again, the circumstances that revolves around Jammeh from 1994 to 2016 was the same circumstances, or was the very reason that propelled a united opposition front. Could we see that happening again in the Gambia?
So your argument is that there are historical factors that motivated the creation of Coalition 2016.
Yes.
That currently do not exist.
That currently do not exist. I'm not saying that an alliance cannot happen, but the argument has to change. The approach has to change. The political methodology.
But was it merely an approach? I think 2016 what happened was you have existential issues that draw everyone at the same box.
Yes, that was orchestrated by Jammeh.
Yes, so existential issues in the sense that he spiked the nomination numbers, figures to 1 million.
Yes, his attack,
which by the way, Barrow currently think is too small. He increased it to 2 million.
Exactly.
Okay, so there were protests on the street. Solo Sandeng was killed in state custody.
Yeah.
Some other couple of people were arrested. UDP executive members are all in mile too.
Yeah.
Okay, December 30th barely happened. Just happened. Okay, and the security situation was tense. The attack, the ethno-linguistic relationships was about to implode.
Yeah,
I remember it. I think it's Adam Jan, who was at the UN, I think, rapporteur on things relating to genocide, issued a statement that there's an impending crisis in Gambia. So the tension was there. I mean, it was more like an existential issue, drawing everybody into one box.
Yeah, like what I always say, Jammeh was the brainchild behind his own demise. Yeah, politically, because everything was there for a successful alliance to be built. Yeah. But that was successful. But also in the past, there have been alliances that have not been successful. Why? We also need to understand that dynamic. Why is it that the only time UDP were part of a grand alliance, there was political change? And here I'm referencing the opposition party, or the main opposition party, yes, the main opposition party during this period. Since 1996, the main opposition party has been the United Democratic Party, isn't it? But also, previously there were coalitions where UDP refused to participate, and there was no political change in them. So what this tells you is that in order for members of the opposition right now to achieve a desirable political outcome in 2026 presidential elections, a coalition of such magnitude is needed again. a coalition where all, because I don't believe that.
But there was all but one.
Yes,
in 2016.
Yes, in 2016. So I don't believe that NPP is also immune from political defeat. I don't believe that, because an argument can be built around the political fiascos and failures presided over by the NPP government. And therefore, all that you need is a consolidated opposition voice that can convince Gambian that indeed change is something that is indeed achievable. I don't see them as invincible, even though based on the current political landscape, one can say that all odds favors them to win in the 2026 election, provided that there is no alliance that can challenge them in the opposition side.
Okay, so we'll come to NPP later on. Let's look at the alliance and the potential alliance and what's likely going to happen. Now, you've talked about the absence of the factors that created the 2016 and the fact that there currently are no existential issues. We are in a democracy or a pseudo-democracy, however, a democracy nonetheless, right? Now, we have UDP here, and they're still talking. Remember, there were always coalitions, because even in 2001, there is coalition.
The North Coalition 2006.
Yes, there were always coalitions, even when there is no grand coalition. So, for example, even in 2011, the UDP has its own coalition with My Party and others.
Lessons will be learned from that.
United Front existed, Hamad Khalifa and others.
Yes.
Okay. Now, and right now, we are going into another elections, and the dominant, I had UDP's Lamin Mane here, and he said that UDP, for them, any coalition that does not have Ousainu lead it is a deal breaker.
That's their position.
That's their position.
Which is a very complicated and complex one.
But why? Because you wrote an analysis where you seem to agree that any coalition that excludes UDP based on their strengths will fail.
Yes, so when I was making that argument,
the
emphasis was not on the personality. The emphasis was on the party itself and its numbers.
Yes.
Okay? Any coalition will need the numbers of the United Democratic Party.
Yes.
7% in an election, you don't need to work hard to unseat NPP.
But can you make a counter argument? Can you make a counter argument, as others are making, that no, I mean, this is a historical number? I mean, do we just dismiss it as this is a historical number, or do we hold it to give it significance? It's a historical number, yes, but it's a consistent historical number.
Exactly. I will use the word consistent historical number, because numbers really matter so much. And when we talk about numbers, NPP won the last election with an absolute majority, 53% of the vote. You don't just expect those numbers to disappear overnight. A groundwork is needed politically, isn't it, for members of the opposition United Front. But again, what I would like to say, when you mentioned the coalition that were formed in the past, you mentioned the 2011 and the North. What that was is that a fragmentation within the opposition political camp. And whenever there are political fragmentations, that only will work in favor of the incumbent political party. And that was what happened. And then in 2016, what we had was a united opposition front, united to confront Jammeh in his APLC political party. But again, we also need to understand the differences of APLC, because APLC stood alone, isn't it? APLC was not a grand alliance in 2016, was it? Compared to the current NPP,
yes,
which is an alliance of political parties,
yes,
where you have the NLP and the others, the NATO Alliance or
the Citizen Alliance.
The Citizen
PGC
Alliance.
or University of the Gambia political
yes. See, I used to call them very, very political parties.
Yes, University of the Gambia political party.
Exactly. But the idea is not to underestimate any political party,
Yeah.
as far as they can bring 10,000
people.
or 2 people.
Or the party leader's wife and himself.
Exactly. Okay, and an alliance is an
Alliance.
alliance is an alliance. So it is also very important for us to understand the dynamics. You see, when we analyze politics, quite often our focus is on emotional intervention. It shouldn't be. It ought to be based on numbers. The data is there.
Yeah, okay. Now, look at, okay, I agree. UDP has consistent historical data. I
Yes.
agree. Now, if you take that to say, well, they have, and the party is historically very relevant, nevertheless, we can still debate how to select a leader. They can come and say, well, Mr. Gai, we are the biggest guy at the table.
Yeah.
We should decide the rules of the game.
Yeah, they can make argument. And
wouldn't that be logical?
And that, of course, very logical and very rational.
Yeah.
And that has been the behavior of major opposition parties, not only in the Gambia, but across Africa.
Yeah.
You see the party of Usman Sonko and so on.
Yeah,
when he believed he was the main political opposition, they decide. Because I cannot think of a world in Gambian politics, based on my little knowledge and understanding of politics, that a coalition can be formed, a grand coalition that is not headed by UDP. I'm not saying Ousainu Darboe, I'm saying a coalition that is not fronted.
But UDP had decided their man.
Yes, UDP
their
has to decide on that.
Is going to be
Ousainu. UDP has to decide on that.
No, UDP
why has
decided.
Yes. Why did I say that? You see, NPP is a breakaway party from the United Democratic Party.
Yeah.
Perhaps when UDP reflect back.
The first breaker.
Yes, when UDP reflect back inwards.
Yeah.
What they will be saying is that
it's not the first breakaway, and DAM is the first breakaway.
Yes, we have permeated our own, but NPP is the most significant one, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, we have permeated our own downfall for thinking that President Barrow was part of us, when actually he was not part of us all along, because the disintegration indicated otherwise. And therefore, I don't think UDP will want to do similar mistake again, because once you surrender your rights to a coalition arrangement, you're no longer governed by your political party rules.
Yeah.
You're governed by the merits of the political coalition itself, and therefore making yourself vulnerable. Now, imagine if UDP were to make those same mistakes within a decade. What would that look like when they had to, let me put it this way. If, let's say, there is an opposition coalition, which UDP agrees to be part of, and again, the Talib Ahmed Bensouda is chosen as the leader, or APP Sobaya is chosen as the leader, and they get the political power, will you think that members of the coalition will honor the agreement based on who is going to lead, who is going to occupy certain positions, what are the criteria? Is the leadership going to step down after 3 years? I mean, UDP will have learned from their mistake in the past that that is not attainable. I am not discouraging the idea of forming a coalition. I'm only trying to analyze it from a UDP perspective. There's this saying in all of that says, "Chaga dokode nah nyarion." Isn't it? You cannot deceive a prostitute twice. So based on that now, what that tells us is that UDP will stand firm on their ground, and they're already manifesting that. You've had interview with their political leadership, and they have confirmed to you. So obviously, again, what does not make sense in a grand coalition is Talib Ahmed Bensouda, for instance, allowing UDP to lead him in a coalition. The very essence why he left the United Democratic Party was to be the leader of the United Democratic Party. And therefore, breaking away and forming your own UMC movement, only for you to surrender your political ambition to another leadership within UDP, is also illogical to understand, isn't it?
Yeah, it's illogical. But then that's where the fundamental issues are.
Exactly.
So, because, for example, I agree with you, UDP has a consistent historical data. And if anybody were to counter that, you probably would have to present relevant data to show you have a significant support that could surpass or equal their support. I agree. But then there are folks who also look at the leadership and say, okay, we don't have confidence in the winning of the leadership. And therefore, though we can support them.
And that is a valid argument.
Yeah, but that's what is more complex with your argument. Because, for example, you are saying UDP is the big boy at the table.
Yes.
It's the United States at the table.
Yeah, it's the big boy, but not necessarily focusing on the leadership.
Yeah, but I am saying, if I am the United States at the table, how can I not make the leadership? How can I not decide who leads? I mean, it doesn't make sense also.
In terms of leading the coalition, don't get me wrong, it's UDP.
Yes, but
that is my argument.
But UDP has already
But the
made
individual who's going to lead it, huh?
But UDP has already made that decision.
Yes.
UDP has made the decision that
Darboe is the
want
lead.
Ousainu to lead. Okay, and that decision is done and dusted. And you agree that UDP is the big boy at the table.
Yes, they are.
Okay, so if UDP is the big boy at the table in terms of the opposition camp, then they are right, logically, to say, well, we have to choose the right. We have to choose the guy. We have to choose who leads. And therefore, by consequence, who we choose is the person to lead.
Yes, and I think that is the very reason why a coalition at the moment or a merger is looking very unlikely.
It's looking very unlikely.
Yes, when you try to analyze these dynamics, which are very important. Others can also make the argument that Darboe has never succeeded politically.
Yeah.
Whenever he leads, whether at UDP or as a coalition.
Yeah.
That's a valid argument that can also be made, that he has contested 5 elections and lost all of them. But again,
well, is it 5? It's 4, maybe.
It's 4, huh?
Yeah.
All right. So any coalition arrangement also in the foreseeable future will more or less revolve around what UDP wants and also what the political leadership of UDP wants. If Darboe is the one that they want to front, that could also create a complex situation, except all the political parties, those in the opposition, accept that reality as well. Accepting the reality that
actually we only contested 5.
Yes.
It's supposed to be 6 minus 2016.
Yeah. I think I was right.
Yeah.
So what that really tells us is that compromises will have to be made.
So
political parties will have to be rational in their assessment.
You have the roadmap now. Tell us what the compromise is should look like.
My analysis was that an alliance without UDP is going to be a strategic victory for NPP.
Yeah.
Why? Because I don't believe any individualistic political party can reject NPP out of power.
So now we agree with you.
Even the biggest opposition party don't have the numbers.
So now we agree with you. Give us the formula.
Now the formula is very simple. I believe, and this is not something that I want to happen. I'm just analyzing from a political perspective. What I believe will happen for a coalition to work is that for political parties to come together, decide on a desirable approach in terms of what political message or ideas that we think Gambians will buy. Remember, NPP is very vulnerable politically now in terms of...
now why is NPP vulnerable? They just won a by-election.
Yes, what I mean...
Retain an earlier seat.
Yes.
And made an inroad into a new territory.
Yes. What I meant...
That sounds like a big boy right now.
What I meant is that the social elements, the concrete arguments that can be made for an alternative exist out there.
Yes.
Remember, Gambia is one of the poorest countries in sub-Saharan Africa. People can argue that the economy is doing well, but that is not the case. We have a very fragile economy. Poverty is looming. Gambians are trying everything to leave the country. And we have seen the disaster that is happening across. So obviously, there are downsides, messages that can be made from a united opposition front. But again, before talking about a coalition, first, something must happen, isn't it? Political parties must be ready within themselves to form an alliance, isn't it? And my message was that an alliance cannot be formed, or a successful political alliance cannot be formed without the United Democratic Party. And I'm not naive enough to believe that I'm the only one who believe in that. Many political analysts, commentators will believe in the same. So what is needed is for the opposition to have a discussion among themselves. Genuine discussions, genuine political discussions. If they truly have the desire to unseat NPP from power, compromises will have to be made.
On what?
On which political parties are going to be part of a coalition arrangement, and which political parties are going to lead.
No,
I believe United Democratic Party is going to lead.
Exactly. So then, therefore, UDP leader will lead.
Obviously, if that is the case, because that's the only likely scenario that I see.
Yeah, because the alternative.
Yes.
So how would the alternative look like? Like
the alternative will look like without UDP leading. I don't think UDP will want to participate in a coalition that they do not lead, or in a coalition where they do not have a voice.
They've made that clear.
That is clear.
And your argument suggests.
And therefore, the alternative will be a coalition without UDP.
Yeah. So what do you think?
And a coalition without UDP, like I said, is going to be a strategic victory for NPP.
So now, what do you think of three-horse race?
A three-horse race between NPP.
Where we have NPP,
UDP.
We have UDP and Alliance.
And
because UDP is also forging its own. They're talking to people. You have
a dark horse,
UMC, APP, Sobea, PPA, all the PPP.
All the parties that you have mentioned.
Yeah.
UMC, we don't know what they're likely going to bring on the table.
Yeah.
APP Surveyor, we know. Isn't it?
Historically, we know.
Historically, we know.
Yeah.
PPP also, they have demised politically a long time ago. And it is one of those political parties that will join an alliance just to gain relevance. And recently we have seen that happening a lot. Very, very political parties. Or
especially with Barrow and Anala Dimba.
Yes, juvenile political parties just seeking political position instead of political victory. But again, what that tells us is that there could be a three-horse race, and yet still I believe if there's a three-horse race, that is going to be an easy victory for NPP, provided that if President Barrow is the flag bearer for the National People's Party.
And for now, of course, holding all factors constant.
Yes, holding all factors constant. Because I believe that Gambian politics over the years has always been one party dominant but two-horse race. Isn't it?
Yeah.
The incumbent political party has been dominating, whether be it during PPP, and even PPP, they have some strong opposition forces with the NCP or the United Party by then. And when APLC also came, they were the party to beat. And below them, you have the United Democratic Party as the main opposition force. And recently also, whether we like it or not, that is still the case. So the political culture of Gambia in terms of voting and election has not changed that much.
So, but let's look at something. You said that, NPP has a lot of vulnerabilities, and you made mention of the economic issues. The back where folks are dying, unemployment, rising inflation. But those factors were here even with Jammeh also.
Yes.
And people still voted for him.
Yes, I agree. Not until there was a grand coalition.
Yeah, people still voted for him.
So my position is that if there is a grand coalition and they're able to make, or they're able to sell a proper message to the Gambian, expect that there could be changes. I'm not saying that any political party can contest against NPP and defeat them on the basis of the economy is doing well. No, that is not how Gambians vote in election. There is loyalty to incumbent political party, and there are fixed number of votes or percentage of votes that an incumbent political party is entitled to in the Gambia politically. And right now that is with the NPP folks. But I'm also saying that NPP is not invincible. It is a party that is beatable in any election, and it is a party that can be dejected out of power if there is a proper political strategy for members of the opposition group. Now, and what that proper political strategy is has to be based on a united front, one that is constructive, but also one that is objective. Now, aligning themselves to the realities on the ground, knowing what could really work and what may not work.
Now, you know, elections are not just about choosing what people want. They are also about denying what people don't want.
Yes.
So, for example, if I am contesting against you, folks don't just look at whether they like Biran, or whether he's a cute young man or not, or whether he's a very smart guy, has all the answers or not. They also look at me, who is your opponent, whether they like me or not, whether they want me to be president or not. So they don't just vote for you, they also vote against me. And there are folks who argued
in the Gambia. That is very evident. Yeah.
Yes, that folks just didn't vote for Barrow, but they also voted against Ousainu. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I agree.
That they just don't.
And I think politically that has been the greatest obstacle towards Ousainu Darboe.
Why do you think that's so?
I really cannot pinpoint my hand on it. Sometimes when we talk outside, people will say that it's just destiny or what. Like, I just don't understand.
Yeah.
I have spoken to people where right now people are telling you that it is better to vote for Barrow than allow Ousainu to come to power.
Why?
I don't know, because the reasons are not that relevant towards a political discourse. So that's the only answer that I don't know, politically speaking. I don't know why he is not able to penetrate to certain aspect of the Gambian population. I really can't put my finger on that. And the same thing also applies to Halifa Sallah as well.
I mean, all right. So let's look at this. I mean, if you have a coalition of everything, just as UDP wanted, and UDP leader selects, with this prejudice that you've just talked about, do you think he's going to win? You still think he's going to win? Because you think if there is a grand coalition, Barrow is going.
Yeah, people will say that if President Barrow was capable of defeating Yahya Jammeh, that anything is possible in Gambian politics as well. Who knows, isn't it? Because one could argue the pedigree was not there, the political portfolio was not there, the political education was not there, the desire was not even there.
The last time somebody used pedigree on Barrow, it didn't turn out well.
Yes, but I think we live in a free world. I can say that the pedigree was not there politically.
Okay. All right.
When it was admitted by the man himself.
Okay.
So who are we to judge when someone is telling you that I am not ready for this? Isn't it? Sometimes people want to make argument for argument's sake. But again, I think and I think that's where the fragilities lies. The fragilities lies. I believe wholeheartedly that there could be a coalition. But what is going to disintegrate, or what is going to be the disagreement, is who leads the coalition. I am of the view that if UDP, without wanting to do away with Darboe, that is going to create a problem for those in the other camps as well.
So, but
isn't and but that is the analysis that I also just made.
Other camps left the there are folks who UDP, were in the other camp,
purposely
like
for that.
UMC, who left the UDP, purposely
and
because they think Ousainu is not electable.
Yes, and Lamin J. Darboe as well. So that's why I am saying that in my earlier submission, that it is looking increasingly very unlikely
that there will be a coalition.
That there will be a coalition which UDP is part of and which is headed by lawyer Ousainu.
But okay, let's suppose...
Except compromises are made, serious compromises.
Now let's suppose Ousainu leads the coalition. Now, You've talked about data here.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at data, for example,
Mm-hmm.
Barrow,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of his performance at the polls at the level of the presidency,
Mm-hmm.
has had far less power,
Mm-hmm.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
historically,
Mm-hmm.
than any president in the history of the Gambia. Is that not correct? Jawara, he sweeps the parliament.
Mm-hmm.
He sweeps the presidential election.
Mm.
He sweeps the councils.
Mm.
Jame, he sweeps the parliament, the presidential elections, the council.
Mm.
Barrow, he sweeps the presidential election, divides everything
Mm-hmm.
with the opposition, 50-50 almost.
Mm-hmm.
In the parliament,
Mm.
he's just 2 members ahead of UDP.
UDP. Mm.
In the councils,
Mm.
he's with them. So UDP literally holds half of the sky above the Gambia, right?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah?
Yes.
Because they have the councils,
That's right, yeah.
they have the parliament,
Mm-hmm.
yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So they just don't have the executive.
And therefore, we understand the position of UDP
Yes.
is from a position of a strength
Yes.
and from a position of power projection.
Yes, but I am also
Isn't
saying this to say
Mm.
that, but yet still Ousainu went to the election and still lost. By consequence, Ousainu is the most powerful person to have ever lost the presidential election in the history of the Gambia.
Mm. Yes.
Yes, historically.
Yes.
So, do you think he's still going to win?
As for winning, that is a question of divinity. I am not a political
Yeah, I know.
prophet, maybe
nobody can say for a fact.
Yeah.
who's
But
going to win.
I can only analyze.
Yeah.
I can only analyze from a political perspective, both based on the numbers that we've been presented to over the years. I believe that the similitude of dejecting Barrow from power is going to be the same similitude that Jammeh was also dejected from power. That is, if there is a united opposition front. A united opposition front that is not heavily focused on who leads. But if the idea is truly to get rid of President Barrow, compromises will have to be made. Now, whether UDP is going to make those the compromises, which is very unlikely, is something that remains to be seen.
Yeah, but
whether also those in the other political parties are going to make those compromises is also something that remains to be seen. But remember, if also, for instance, we have a situation where Talib Bensouda have to bend the knee, likewise Lamin Darboe have to bend the knee for a UDP-led coalition, what that also tells them is that they have abundant principles, and the very conviction that permeated them to left UDP in the first place was on the basics that they wanted to be the flag bearer. A real complex and mismatched situation exists there in terms of alliance or a merger between those within the opposition.
I agree with you, but the UMC, the UDP could not simply allow UMC to lead or Talib to lead it.
Exactly.
That there is no chance in hell that's going to happen.
Yes.
All right. Now,
not only UMC, I think across all the opposition parties.
Yes, but so that is why I'm focusing on a coalition, a potential of a coalition led by Ousainu. Now, we've agreed that historically Ousainu is the guy who had most power ever in the political history of the Gambia and lost the presidential election. Do you agree with that?
The most power.
Yeah, I mean, nobody has ever contested the presidential election under a party, on the ticket of a party that has half of the National Assembly, almost, or at least 30 to 40% of the National Assembly, all but 2 councils, right, under it, over 75% of ward councillors, and lost the presidential election. No one has ever done that.
But also, you can say that no one in the opposition has single-handedly contested election alone against an incumbent with alliance and also won.
An incumbent with alliance.
With alliance and also won, isn't it?
Yes.
That argument can also be made. That it was UDP
yes,
against an incumbent political party that has support from other political parties. Not only support, but they have access to state resources. Monopoly on state resources. And therefore, one can understand such electoral defeat. Outcome. If you analyze it from that perspective as well. You can say Ousainu was this close. But again, the NPP alliance was much more powerful.
Even after Ousainu lost, right? The UDP came to have the popular vote after the presidential elections in the councils and the parliament, right? If I'm right, in the councils, not the parliament, but if I'm right, they have the popular vote in the councils.
In the councils, yeah.
Okay,
I think
so it doesn't seem to have been UDP against the NPP. It seems to have been Ousainu against Barrow.
Yes, but again, that analogy do exist in the United States, isn't it? A president will be elected with less of the popular votes, and then in the midterms, the other party will win. That is something that do exist.
Yes, but
across political environment. Therefore, just to say this, I disagree with the proposition that if you lead the local government or local elections, that ought to translate into somebody winning the presidential election. I disagree with that. Why? Because sometimes also we need to understand the nature of voting at the local level. At the local level, people identify with those that are close to them. And that's why it is a decentralized form of voting. It's different from a national outlook. Okay? On the national outlook, mostly the focus is on the individual party, or the focus is on the party, or the person leading the party. At the local output, UDP, for instance, is going to identify you based on your relationship with the voters at the grassroots level. And therefore, the dynamics could also be different. Could it be the case that UDP always choose rightly? And also, there are places that are a strong UDP hold. So in terms of the population-wise also, that matters. Because UDP won West Coast, which is one of the biggest in the Gambia. But also when
UDP won all the biggest councils in the Gambia.
Yes, they won all the biggest councils in the Gambia. And that is something that is good for democracy, isn't it?
Yes, it's good for democracy. But what I'm trying to say, what I am trying to point at is that
okay, I think I kind of understand your point. That it was unthinkable that Ousainu could have lost the election when he had all these powers and support.
It's not unthinkable. That's not what I meant. In politics, everything is thinkable. Okay, what I am saying is, I am talking about the popularity or the winnability of Barrow versus Ousainu, right? Now, Ousainu did have the chance. It seemed to be the case that people just chose Barrow. But the people didn't, historically, based on the election data that we've seen since 2021, people have not rejected the UDP.
They have not,
They have rejected Ousainu. Because, I mean, look at the data.
Yeah. So that's why I always say that national elections are different from local elections.
But is this about national or local? Because we are talking about ward elections here. Right? Ward elections UDP come off not the best, but better. Council elections, they came halfway to NPP, took four. Parliamentary elections, they came 16, NPP took 18. That's like that. No incumbent has lost these elections this terribly. Barrow is the least most powerful president in the history of the Gambia.
Yes, that's right.
Right?
Yes, I agree with that. And sometimes for Darboe, I just don't seem to understand why, but he's very unpopular in the Gambian politics. Nationally, one can say that because of his precedence in contesting and losing elections to incumbent political parties. And that still seems to be the case. One can argue that Barrow is more popular than Darboe. But whatever the case, in as much as we can pinpoint these valid observations about Gambian politics and so on, what is ideal moving forward, or what is crystal clear ahead of 2026, is that if an alternative is to incur, then an alliance is needed within the opposition camp. Now, who leads that alliance is left for them to decide.
Okay, so for example, now you have a situation where right now, by historical data, and you're not the only one who said that, a lot of folks will agree with you on that UDP has the biggest strength, okay, by historical data, and consistent historical data for that matter.
They have.
All right, and the others are also doing their best. We haven't seen, the situation seems to be fluid. We don't know yet, right? But then you come to now look at Barrow's popularity, for example. In 2018, when the Afrobarometer survey came out, Barrow was the most popular leader in the Gambia. Not political leader. Of all, yeah.
In 2018.
2018. Super popular.
But then we need to understand the dynamics of change then.
Yes, so I'm coming. I'll bring a lot of statistics. So if you look at 2018, he was there.
Yes.
Right? Okay, leading right down to 2021, he was super unpopular. He came down to around, they said something like, he was at 80%, I think he came down to 40%. Right? The same separate survey came shortly after. Right? It says, of course, Barrow was in the lead. Okay? Ousainu was going to lose. That's what separate survey said. We dismissed it. Or a lot of folks dismissed it. Myself, my analysis at the time was that the UDP was going to win. Okay, because I was calculating all the local government supports they have, the parliamentary supports, and I was translating that into voting, into vote. All right, and so we came down to 2021 election, UDP lost. Okay, we moved past the 2021 election. It turns out UDP is not unpopular. It was Ousainu who lost. UDP got the almost 2 seats behind NPP in the parliamentary elections.
For sure.
And half of the chairmanship elections. Right? We passed that now. We went into another survey, which is 2024 Afrobarometer survey. They asked if election were held tomorrow. The exact question. Yeah?
I'm part of all this surveys.
Exactly. Yeah. If elections were held tomorrow, who are you going to vote for? Around 24%, if I get it right, says Barrow. 17% said Ousainu. Again,
so the data has been consistent.
Yes,
in line
again,
with
Barrow's
results.
Popularity is super on the decline. It's on a steep decline.
But Darboe is also going down.
But Darboe is also going down. Right? We move past that. We went into this recent one done by Cyprus but sponsored by Gambia Participate. Again, Barrow is doing better. Like as the Americans say, you can't make this shit up. It doesn't seem like Ousainu's popularity has ever surpassed Barrow's.
Yeah, and that's why you have us in the political scientist world or in the social sciences with the conviction that NPP has everything to lose in these elections because the data favors them, the numbers favors them. And personally, from a personal perspective, I also do believe, and I share these observations as well, I believe now change is needed within UDP internally. I believe that if there was a credible young leader, somebody that is innocent politically,
what constitutes innocence in politics?
Somebody who's never contested election in the past and failed, somebody who has a proper and failed, somebody who has a proper track record, isn't it? Both in public and private life and so on, somebody who is lovable. If UDP could have done that, because I believe they have young intellectual, young folks among them, So I do not just understand this divine loyalty towards Darboe, and it keep costing you a lot. And as a result of it, since 1996, you're not able to enjoy the political change that you wish. Sometimes change is necessary, and I believe that if the United Democratic Party was able to do that, I equally believe this election could have been the best platform. You see, sometimes me personally, I used to say that no, I do not believe Darboe is still going to contest this election. I think UDP has a plan. UDP has a plan B. Huh? I still believe that UDP has a plan B, that they're going to bring someone up, because I really do not see the logic of repeating the same mistakes again.
But do
you
agree with my?
I agree.
Do you agree with my?
Yes, Darboe is very unpopular.
Yeah,
and
but
unpopularity
UDP is not.
Yes, and that unpopularity is costing the United Democratic Party, because I said that previously in my assessment, UDP is capable of winning popular votes across the Gambia, but like Ousainu Darboe, I know people will come to me for that, is not capable of doing that. That is my point. Okay? And I equally believe that if there was a leadership change within UDP, somebody that was well appreciated maybe, and I used to make this analysis, I believe that, for instance, if Talib Bensouda was giving the flag bearer of UDP, Talib Bensouda is capable of tapping votes from other people or from other political parties, while Darboe is not capable of doing that, because his numbers have been constant. He has a fixed number of voters that will vote for him automatically. But what you need now is for UDP to skyrocket that, to penetrate other areas where Darboe is not able to penetrate.
Why did you think Talib could do that?
Well, I believe that he has the political pedigree.
What constitutes a political pedigree?
That he has successfully been winning elections on the UDP ticket at the KMC, and I think he's done well. But not only Talib, there are others also, the Biancuba Darboes and the others. But I believe, particularly from a political point of view, Talib makes sense to UDP more than Darboe makes sense to UDP. So my analysis is that I also believe that with Darboe, it is about political loyalty. It's about political loyalty, and it's about emotions.
That the old man has been there all throughout.
All throughout, and it is, my mom. Yeah. My mother is a supporter of the United Democratic Party. Okay. When I try to ask her, why do you still support Darboe? Yeah. I think like that's the reason. And that's the reason that most UDP folks say it is from an emotional perspective rather than from a constructive political decision.
But do you not also think that Darboe has suffered a lot of PR, propaganda, machination, 22 years?
Yeah, but...
And certain mode that has been thrown at him ultimately sticks, even though they may not necessarily be true.
But that is politics.
Like in Kugamfuka, they say whatever we say here for 10 years.
Politics is just about propaganda nowadays. The more PR you got, the more conspiracy theories you have, you win elections. And NPP is best at doing that. All the other political parties are also best at doing that. I think the likes of Halifa, Darboe, they have been situated in a political cage already, where it will be very difficult for them to excel in terms of what other politicians or what incumbent political parties had made people believe. You know, political ideas, political belief, political culture is something that does not easily change overnight. And when it comes to politics in the Gambia, there are particular people that people have formed judgment already on them. Fixated judgment that does not seem to change. Because when you ask people why you don't vote for Halifa Sallah, they will tell you his socialist ideology without even knowing what
What
socialism means.
means, yes.
When the man is talking about he's a democratic socialist, one that is being practiced in the Scandinavian countries like Norway and Denmark. He's not advocating for a classical socialism,
Yeah.
but that is where he was situated
Yeah.
politically
And he couldn't run away.
long time ago, and he couldn't escape still. And when it comes to Darboe also, there is a political picture that was painted already, I think, which has contributed to his political unpopularity a little bit.
All right.
Many will believe that, for instance, Darboe is a tribalist, a hardcore tribalist. He is a Mandinka. Those kind of rhetoric is something that voters out there also believe in. And therefore, that's why even for some opposition political parties, an alliance with UDP is a disaster for them in local elections. We have seen in Nyamina by elections, and also in the recently concluded by elections.
But is this we've gone through data here. Is this necessarily with UDP? Because UDP did win a lot of in the past elections.
I think UDP is not capable
under the current administration.
Yes, they have, but the ultimate goal is
the presidency.
The presidency.
You think it does not have the right support
and UDP
politically?
They don't have the numbers.
All right. So let's move on to the other side. So, for example, I
will also just make this submission. I think what is also deceiving for UDP is the analysis that you have gave in terms of the popular votes and so on. And there is that sort of a political pride in them, not also recognizing the fact that they do not have the overwhelming numbers that they need, and that they need people on their side. Yes, UDP standing alone will be very difficult for them to unseat an incumbent political party in the Gambia without having support from other political parties.
So let's look at Barrow. I mean, you've talked about Barrow. We've talked about Barrow. We gave him an edge. But isn't he vulnerable? Very vulnerable, no? I mean, if you look at also everything that's happening, there's a rising inflation, there's rising migration. Young people, a lot of them are disgruntled, angry, frustrated. And that could cost also an election, no?
Yes. I think I have mentioned that in the beginning. There is a message to sell against Barrow based on the issues that you have highlighted. But in order for that message to have a breakthrough, it must be backed by a united front. That is my perspective. Barrow is obviously not invincible. NPP is not invincible. There are cracks everywhere. Even within NPP, you may see that there could be political disintegration, disalignment, and so on. Okay? But what we are saying is that from this standpoint, it will be very difficult to do that because we live in a simple majoritarian political system where winner take all. And Barrow still believes that those numbers are actually with him.
Yeah, I can see that. But if you have, if we go to the elections and you have all these grievances that Barrow has, do you not think that it's also possible that with the right candidate he could also lose?
With the right
candidate? Without the coalition? Or you think there has to be
how do we define who is the right candidate in the context of the Gambia?
I don't know.
When voting is not on the basis of issues. If voting was on the basis of issues,
is it like voting on the basis of issues?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think.
What do you think?
There are other considerations and motivation. We need to understand the construct of Gambian politics.
Yeah.
The Yai Compins, and the others, the political godfathers, those that have been there for so long. Do we think that voting is on the basics of issues because the economy is not doing well, because there is issues around migration, women, lack of women empowerment? I don't think it has been that over the years. Although from a political behavioral perspective, you need to do a scientific research to be able to understand the voting behavior of Gambians. Why do people vote? What are the motivating factors? Are they sociological factors? Are they psychological factors? We need to understand these factors. But I don't think that if the right candidate is in place, and I don't know who the right candidate is, you can be right, but you may not be in the right platform. Okay? I think what is needed for a change is for a right man at the right place, or a right woman at the right place. That is what can deliver change. And like I mentioned in my earlier judgment, is that if there is a united front with a desirable winner, NPP is invincible. NPP could actually lose the election. In fact, simply, they could do so.
But if you look at all the data that comes out, all the opinion polls that come out, you would see that Barrow's popularity has been on a steep decline from 2019, right, to now.
But then
it's also been like that.
In that same
Even
vein,
though Ousainu also has always been like that.
that was my point. In that vein,
Yes, but the point, the most important thing is not Ousainu
on
here.
the rise?
No,
There's
the most important thing here, because it's not Barrow, it's not Ousainu, it's Barrow. Like Barrow is the president, and the data is showing us his popularity is like that. It's on a nosedive.
Yeah.
It has been for 7 years. I mean,
Yes, I agree perfectly. But whenever you have, based on the data that you quoted, a declining popularity in Barrow, you also have a declining popularity
in the opposition leader. Yeah.
And previously, I made the analysis that Gambian politics has always been like that. It has been an incumbent with a leading opposition. Okay, it has been one party dominant, but again, two horse races politically over the years, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's either a first or a second. There hasn't been an instances of a stronger third wave. That only happened in 2016 with Mama Kande, and that was really, really significant towards orchestrating.
He took 80,000 votes.
Yes, orchestrating a change. So that is always very, very important for us to put into perspective when we analyze politics in general.
Do you think in these circumstances, we may also have a situation where, for example, UDP and its alliances, because they are going to also have an alliance.
Yeah, they must.
Okay. NPP, of course, that's deal done. Like we can come to where the potential fragments will come from there also. You have a UMC and all these people. Okay, the young boys in the club, those folks, they are also contesting, and so you have a three-horse race.
I was talking to someone.
Do you think that could be a Mama Kande situation?
I was talking to someone who disagreed with my article. Rightly so. He said he's foreseeing a dark horse.
Okay.
Independent of NPP and a UDP alliance, a dark horse. And that dark horse he was talking about was the UMC forming another alliance outside the parameters of UDP.
Of the traditional parties.
But even if that is going to happen, I don't think that is going to yield any significant dividends. It could, however, favor two political parties. An alliance, the UDP alliance, and the NPP alliance, considering the fact that they're going to take votes from both camps, and in a simple majoritarian political system, the winner takes all.
Yeah.
UDP could actually may benefit from that angle as well. But others can argue that, in fact, if there is a Talib scam, you expect him to take significant portion of votes from the United Democratic Party and from the
Is
NPP.
it? Is
NPP.
Talib likely to appeal that significantly to UDP?
Appeal in terms of?
I mean, I didn't see the numbers. I didn't see
Talib
Talib
numbers.
breaking the UDP.
And yeah, that's
Doesn't seem apparent.
That is the unpredictability element of it, but I expect Talib to take numbers from UDP.
Do you think he's likely to take more from UDP or NPP?
I think it will be more from NPP, I believe. But obviously, UDP is a party that will want to build from the 27% that they have.
Yes.
And now...
And in any case, the UMC people...
Exactly.
They are from UDP.
Yeah.
The top echelon.
Yeah, the top echelon. So obviously, sometimes also we just have to be objective and realistic that Talib support base is originated from the United Democratic Party.
Yes, but
obviously they're likely to take numbers, whether 1% or 2%.
Yeah,
they're likely to take numbers from UDP. UDP may find ways of balancing those numbers elsewhere, but obviously, if Talib is to stand independently from UDP, you will expect that there will be some breakaway.
So, but who do you think is supposed to suffer the most bleeding?
It's UDP.
From UMC.
Yes.
But, I mean, you mean the consequence of UMC will have more implication on the UDP negatively than on NPP?
Yes.
Because if that's your person, then UDP is screwed.
UDP is screwed politically. What I'm saying is that because, I mean, heading into an election year, and you have your major allies leaving you,
well,
tell me in what world is that something positive? That cannot be a positive
I'm not
thing.
saying it's positive.
Like if we have prior to elections and you have President Barrow's main allies boycotting him, in what world can we say and analyze that that is not going to negatively affect the NPP? When voting in the Gambia, sometimes is along individual lines.
Yeah.
There are people who love Talib Bensouda, and Talib is doing his campaign. So obviously, from the leadership of UMC alone, how many people defected from UDP? So UDP shouldn't be naive to say that no, Talib is not going to hurt us. They may not admit that publicly, but obviously, privately, everybody knows that Talib is an influential political figure in Gambia. And also, people need to pay attention to numbers. In a majoritarian political system, small numbers can cost you elections. Those Mama Kande numbers. Remember when Yajeme sacked him thinking that Kande is nobody.
He's insignificant, yeah.
But it is the same Kande
who cost him
who facilitated your loss for political power.
Yeah.
So, and therefore, these numbers are very important. In fact, almost all the voters of Mama Kande in 2016 were supporters of the APRC party. And you're likely going to have that some of the voters, I have known people that were hardcore UDP, okay? They might be very insignificant numbers supporting Talib and UMC because Talib was a political asset of the United Democratic Party. He was one of the most influential leaders of the United Democratic Party, and he was also leading one of the most important municipality in the Gambia, in KMC. So
if we go by that, then you sort of saying UDP is going to lose.
Yes.
It's likely going to lose.
Yeah.
If it contests on its own.
Yeah. No doubt about that. That was my analysis.
So, but let's look at NPP also, the potentials there, the potential negatives there. Of course, we know some of the allies are very firm in their support for Barrow, like Citizen Alliance. But you see Keba Mahdi also left the NPP, right?
Yes.
and form his own political party.
And
It's
that
not-
is numbers away, isn't it?
Sorry?
I said that is numbers away, some numbers
Yes,
away.
that takes some numbers
Yeah.
away. And now also there are rumors that Barrow may not contest, may or may not contest, even though this is not confirmed.
Fine.
And we have had Hamad also hold a rally to talk about the fact that if Barrow does not, he can only support Barrow. And after Barrow, he will run for presidency. I mean, there are folks who believe that there may also be tensions from brewing from within the NPP that could also affect them at the polls. Do you?
I think the glue holding NPP together is President Adama Barrow. And those parties that are in alliance are in it because their loyalty lies with the president. That is my assessment. I believe that the loyalty of CA, particularly Dr. Ismaila Cisse, is to Adama Barrow, not the NPP. Ahmad Ba just confirmed that recently, isn't it?
Yeah.
What that tells you is that any elections in the Gambia for NPP that is not fronted by President Barrow is likely to disintegrate and lose. Because what you will have is that leadership crisis in the Gambia. And we have seen this manifestation politically across other political environment in Africa. Remember, APL without Macky Sall disintegrated so fast.
APLC without
APLC without Jammeh
PPP
disintegrated
without
so
Jawara.
fast. PPP without Jawara
UP without
disintegrated
PS
so
Njai.
fast. UP without Pesal Njai. So what is the indication that NPP without Barrow will not also suffer the same consequences? Huh? So the likelihood for disintegration is there. I think what works for NPP is for President Barrow to remain. But if that is not attainable, then I think we must widen our analysis as well. But
if Barrow, is there a possibility that Barrow could look outside of the immediate alliance and pick somebody who supposedly an independent to come and replace him?
I think that would be the biggest political miscalculation
For who?
for NPP and for President Barrow.
But wouldn't it depend on the cloud?
But will you be able to keep the same energy, loyalty from the rest of the alliance? Will they support that same? Remember, NPP is made up of an alliance of political leaders, those with political ambition. Why will President Barrow boycott his allies for over a decade for an outsider? That is tantamount to political suicide. Will you say that Ahmad Ba, for instance, will show loyalty to that unknown individual outside the parameters?
Yes, he is not.
He is not.
Yeah.
Will Dr. Ismaila Cisse and CA also show loyalty to an unknown
It looks
political
like
figure?
it's likely, yes.
Will the others also do the
I
same
think
thing?
it's likely Ismaila would.
Will, huh?
Yeah, if Barrow tells him.
Yeah, he might be in line. Okay. Then he's a yes man.
He's a
isn't
polite
he?
boy.
He's a yes man, huh?
Well, not necessarily a yes man, but I think he's somebody who is likely to play much more careful than Hamad.
But sometimes also you need to understand the individual and what can they bring on the table. What can CA bring on the table for NPP in an alliance? That also.
Well, they have some numbers. I mean,
yes,
in terms of.
But not significant numbers.
Yeah, not significant numbers.
Yes.
But even if you look at Hamad also, he has numbers, but he has only 4 National Assembly members.
Yes, but that is significant at
And
least.
the rumors are that one of them he has already lost it. To NPP.
That is a significant. So, what I believe will happen if President Barrow decides to step down, there will be realignment politically. There will be new form of political configuration within the political space.
And who do you think
Don't be
that's
surprised
going
to see
favor?
those in government even aligning with some aspect of the opposition if they believe that they could win.
We've seen that with the UDP ahead of 2021. Folks think UDP was going to win.
But Darboe was still there. Sorry,
yes, but you
Darboe
have,
was still the
seen, you
leadership.
have seen UDP also making a lot of endorsements.
Yeah, my argument, UDP is an opposition.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about a different phase here. In the incumbent.
Yeah. So you are saying
the party that has
Barrow, suppose Barrow
yes,
steps down,
yes,
NPP is going to go through a
political reconfiguration.
Yes.
Yes.
You've messed me up with this.
People are going to calculate.
Yeah.
Serious calculations will be made.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So now suppose he says is likely going to be a sweep. If he doesn't, is likely going to affect the NPP. Who do you think will benefit from that windfall?
UDP. You know, I said a strategic, an alliance without UDP is a strategic victory for NPP. Okay? A 2016 election without President Barrow could also be a strategic victory for the United
What
Democratic
do you think
Party.
of Hamad's chances?
Of what? Winning elections? No.
He doesn't stand
No
a
way.
chance. But I mean, one of the biggest problems that Hamad has is that there are a lot of, is a big baggage. I mean, there are a lot of state investigations, including the parliamentary.
On his head.
The parliamentary investigation into the ecologists, the Public Petition Committee's investigation, but also the audit of the construction of the ecologists. But the same thing is also coming. It's about to be presented before the president, containing investigations against KMC and others, the councils, which is also going to affect Talib.
Talib, yes. Also. So
I mean,
I see a scenario here. The timing of these investigations is very suspicious, and we have seen these playbooks, this political playbook across Africa being utilized by incumbency powers. We have seen it recently in Uganda. We have seen it in our next door here prior to their elections. You could say that it could be political witch hunt to advantage the party in power.
Or it could
because
also
because at the end of the day, what you may have people thinking is that this is a political witch hunt. In as much as that the investigation might be very they are relevant, politicians can't walk their way around it by saying that this is nothing but a mere smear campaign or a political witch hunt from members of the government. And therefore that could also be that could act like a setback for the government posture also, or for the posture of the ruling NPP in terms of how will people see perceive them if they try to disadvantage their political opponent in an election cycle.
But in this
so
case,
the drawbacks are palpable.
But in this case, it could fit right in because the local government commission started before the elections.
Yes,
started before even the last election. I think I don't know, but anyway, I think it took 2 years.
Yeah.
All right. So you have that. The report is finalized. It's being finalized. So it could affect Talib.
Obviously, yeah. And Talib himself should know better. Obviously, it could affect him because these things usually succeed.
And Hamad could also be affected by
significantly. And therefore, I really, just to be honest with you, I don't see neither Hamad or Talib Ahmed Bensouda winning the 2026 presidential election standing alone or as a lone wolf. That will be the greatest political upset of the century, if that is where to happen.
2016 happened, but that is a first for everything.
Yeah, but 2016, you see, when we analyze 2016, we need to bring these factors and the circumstances.
Yes, I know. I agree with
Okay,
you. But 2016 happened.
2016 was a coalition with having political
but
parties.
factors just
2016 was not a lone wolf.
Yes, but think about it. Most of the factors you have talked about in 2016 started in April.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It was a tsunami.
No. What I said is a lone wolf.
Yeah.
Standing alone. UMC alone. Do you believe that?
No,
that
well,
UMC
I'm not
alone
saying
can
alone.
win 30%, 40% of the vote.
I'm not saying alone, but
yes, that's my point. Of course, in a coalition, they could win. In a coalition that Talib heads with UDP part of, they could actually win.
All right. Well, that's not going to happen.
Yes, I don't think
until hell freezes over.
Yes, I don't think.
But anyway, the other issue is the most important thing, and which is also going to be the last one I want us to talk about, is the issue of if the Hamad factor. If Hamad is selected, and if Hamad is not selected and is aggrieved, and Barrow goes ahead with someone, okay, who is independent, even if that person has a clout.
You know, I said,
or Barrow does not go ahead with someone, but Hamad is aggrieved and opt out of the coalition, they could still throw the books at him,
yes,
taking him to trial for corruption or whatever. But that could also cost, even if Barrow is going to be the one to contest, it could also cost.
Yes, it could. One thing we cannot negate is the fact that Ahmadba is a political magnet.
Yeah.
Within the NPP alliance.
Yeah.
And do not for a second doubt his capabilities and what he has done for NPP. I was at the Nyamina West by-election in 2018, and my analysis was that Ahmadba single-handedly won that election for NPP.
That's Nyamina West,
Nyamina
where
West.
they ran with GDC.
Yes, he was there campaigning both day and night. In fact, he headed the campaign. I think that is where he bought his loyalty to President Barrow by then.
Yeah.
But what you also need to know is that NPP has consolidated itself in power.
Yes.
Since then. Yes. And therefore, Ahmad could be seen as a political or a mere political liability.
You've seen in Sabah Sanja.
In Sabah Sanja.
Yes.
So he could be seen as a political
liability. There are
liability
places where they dethrone him.
With the pending investigations that are hanging over his head. Yeah. So I think the biggest loser in this could be Ahmadba.
But Barrow could also lose. I mean, considering that if these two friends fall out, they say a lot of things.
Barrow could also lose in a way that if it is connected to a strategic alternative on the other side, if there is a desirable alternative that could work in their favor, whether be it a UDP coalition or a UMC alliance or whatsoever. Obviously, that could also play a part. But that is if Ahmad also decide to rally forces and fight against Barrow. You know, he's going to be accepted everywhere.
But let's suppose if Ahmad does not still want to back anybody, but he falls out with Barrow, he knows a lot that Barrow has been involved in. He could create a PR nightmare for him.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
That could cost him an election also.
And therefore, I believe that NPP and the president will go into a crisis management. They will be trying to manage the situation to prevent escalation. They will try to de-escalate the matter, to compromise with Ahmad. There is no doubt that there is significance. There is a serious weight into Ahmed's political dilemma at the moment.
Yeah. All right. Now we have to draw this to a close, and just finally, what do you think? Let's say we are in the second week of 2016, and we are in the second week of December 2026. It feels very like days away. What do you think we would? What would the Gambia look like And who do you think would have been the president?
Uh,
Of course, I know these dynamics will shift. We'll
yes,
talk about it again.
yes.
But to close this particular segment,
yes.
let's talk about what sort of Gambia we likely to see.
The sort of Gambia that we are likely going to see.
I suppose we will still be keeping our democracy.
For me, is two ways. Obviously, democracy will stay.
Yeah.
It's either continuity or discontinuity.
In NPP, sir.
In NPP.
But what do you think is likely?
At this present moment, the likeliest outcome is for an NPP government headed by President Barrow. An NPP government headed by President Barrow. So let me emphasize that. Yes, I don't know the inconsistencies or the change in narratives that might happen before the elections. A lot could happen. People can change their mind in a jiffy. Within months, public opinion can shift, depending on the scenario that we are confronted with. But at the moment, politically, from my observation, all odds is in favor of a continuation with the NPP government, provided that the much anticipated alliance within the opposition camp is not built. Remember, there is no need getting worse because the coalition that was formed in 2016.
Yeah, it was formed in around November.
Around November, which was very close to an election. That is also a strategy from the opposition, maybe to delay so that they can hide their intentions. Because sometimes politics, you don't make your intention known to government or to your opponent. And probably what worked in favor with the coalition in 2016 was that President Jammeh was deceived, thinking that those who were in jail were his main opponent, when actually there were alternatives waiting for him outside. So it's about political calculation. But my final message will just be that if there is any chance of unseating this government in power, the similitude in 2016 must be repeated again. And in that I mean a united opposition front, not a fragmented opposition front.
But you seem to also believe that the factors that should draw that to fruition, those factors are not existing anymore.
Yes, but I also give a counter argument as well, saying that NPP is not invincible, that there are other arguments that can be made as well. Arguments around
economic,
issues around migration, the debilitating state of poverty in the Gambia. All of these are issues that can be put into perspective. Obviously, Barrow is unpopular in the Gambia. And if you have a popular opinion that rallies behind an individual, obviously they could unseat him.
Thank you, Mr. Biran Gai. I'm always tempted to say Gai.
Yes.
I think Gai would be the most popular of the two.
People do confuse that, but it's actually Gai.
Gai. All right. Thank you so much for being here, and we appreciate it. We'll have you another time again as the dynamics changes.
Sure. To
talk more about our politics as we head to 2026 presidential election. I think it will be a very important time.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you. That's all we're going to have this week. Join us next week for another edition. Do subscribe and also share our content for more interaction. Have a good weekend.